The 14th session of the Senate in the third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Let's put ourselves in the presence of God. God the Father, we stand before you today knowing that in this life there will be sickness, affliction, and trials. In this fallen world, we cannot escape trouble. But Lord, we cling to no one else but you. Because as you said in your word, that you have overcome the world. And we have the confidence that as long as we are on your side, under the umbrella of your protection, that we too shall overcome. Give us an extra measure of grace, endurance, and perseverance as we go through tough times. Whatever affliction we are going through, especially those of us who are sick or have loved ones who are sick, of whatever physical or emotional ailments, please minister to them, heal them, and let them feel your loving touch. For those who have lost faith and are overwhelmed with this pandemic or whatever circumstances they are going through, I pray that they will see that you are greater than anything in this world and help them make their way back to you. Thank you, dear Lord, that you are our loving Father and healer who hears our prayers. It is not the absence of affliction, but your presence in the midst of affliction that gives us peace and hope. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiging dalas ng silanganan, bayang na puso, sa mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tulad ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bata, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang islap na uwata, ako'y tagumpay na nagtinilig, ang bituin ng araw niyang kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na luwalhangin pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya lahat may mag-aapi, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Angara.
Present.
Senator Binay.
Present.
Senator Cayetano.
Present.
Senator De Lima. Senator De La Rosa.
Present.
Senator Drilon.
Present.
Senator Gatchalian.
Present.
Senator Go.
Present. Present po.
Senator Gordon.
Present.
Senator Ontiveros.
Present.
Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid.
Present.
Senator Marcos.
Present.
Senator Pacquiao.
Present.
Senator Pangilinan.
Here, present.
Senator Pimentel III. Senator Poe.
Present.
Senator Recto.
Present.
Senator Revilla Jr.
Present.
Senator Tolentino. Senator Villanueva.
Present.
Senator Villar.
Present.
Senator Zubiri.
Hindi may reverse.
Senate President Soto III is present.
Yeah.
With 6 senators physically present and 17 senators virtually present for a total of 23, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority leaders.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 13th Session, Wednesday, September 8, 2021. Consider the same as approved.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The journal is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
Reference of business. Message of the President of the Philippines. Letter of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte dated 2 September 2021, submitting to the Senate for its consideration and concurrence the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership RCEP Agreement, which was adopted on 15 November 2020 on the occasion of the 4th RCEP Leaders Summit via video conference.
Referred to the Committee on Foreign Relations.
Messages from the House of Representatives. Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on September 7, 2021, it passed the following House bills in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate. House number 9178, an act further promoting entrepreneurship by strengthening, empowering, and enhancing the financing and other support programs for micro, small, and medium enterprises, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 6977 as amended, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises, MSMEs.
Referred to the Committees on Trade, Economic Affairs, and Finance.
House number 9850, an act integrating a comprehensive study of Philippine history during World War II into the higher education curriculum.
To the Committee on Higher Education.
House number 9852, an act institutionalizing the conduct of summer youth camp in every barangay and appropriating funds therefore.
To the Committees on Youth, Local Government, and Finance.
House number 9884, an act regulating the use and other activities related to vintage automobiles and other historical, classical, or collector motor vehicles, and providing for their exemption from the standards and restrictions set by laws enacted and regulations adopted after the date of their manufacture.
To the Committee on Public Services.
And House number 10015, entitled an act designating the national music competitions for young artists as the National Youth Development Program for Music, defining its role and functions and appropriating funds therefore.
To the Committees on Youth and Ways and Means, Basic Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on September 7, 2021, it adopted House Concurrent Resolution number 19, entitled Concurrent Resolution providing for the legislative calendar for the third regular session of the 18th Congress of the Philippines, in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate.
To the Archives.
Bill on first reading, Senate number 2392, an act providing for registration, regulation, and operation of cooperative banks, introduced by Senator Zubiri.
To the Committee on Banks, Cooperatives, and Ways and Means.
Resolutions. PS Resolution number 901, resolution urging the executive branch to declare an educational crisis and calling on the public education sector led by DepEd, CHED, and TESDA, together with the local and national government, the private education sector, and other important stakeholders, to band together in formulating and implementing a targeted emergency plan for the education crisis, focusing on the safe and careful reopening of schools in selected areas, effective utilization of the country's education budget, and provision of necessary mental health services for students and other academic sectors to ensure that no one will be left behind, introduced by Senator Hontiveros.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Higher Education.
PS Resolution number 902, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation regarding the effectiveness of the Stay Safe PH application and the status of the national government's contact tracing efforts with the end in view of improving the dismal response of the government to the rapid spread of the COVID-19 virus, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Public Information and Health.
Committee report number 305, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Urban Planning, Housing and Resettlement, and Finance on Senate number 2393, with Senators Go, Revilla Jr., De Lima, Tolentino, and Angara as authors thereof, entitled an act establishing a rental subsidy program for informal settler families, appropriating funds therefore, and for other purposes, recommending its approval in substitution of Senate numbers 1227, 1767, and 1843, taking into consideration House number 8736, sponsor Senator Tolentino.
To the calendar for ordinary business. There is additional reference to business.
Additional reference of business bill on first reading, Senate number 2394, an act providing compensation for the loss of lives and for the destruction of residential and commercial properties as a result of the 2017 armed conflict between the armed forces of the Philippines and terrorist groups in Marawi City, Lanao del Sur, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
Referred to the Committee on Finance and the Senate Special Committee on the Marawi City Rehabilitation.
Resolutions, PS Resolution number 903, resolution congratulating and commending Romeo John Gonzalez Arcilla for winning the Volpi Cup for the Best Actor in the 78th Venice International Film Festival, introduced by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution number 904, resolution conferring the Philippine Senate Medal of Excellence to 2021 Ramon Magsaysay awardee Roberto Balyon, introduced by Senator Hontiveros.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution number 905, resolution congratulating and commending Romeo John Gonzalez Arcilla for being the first Filipino to win the Volpi Cup Best Actor Award at the 78th Venice International Film Festival, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committee on Rules.
Committee report number 306, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Public Services, Trade and Commerce, and Entrepreneurship on Senate number 2395, with Senators Lacson, Zubiri, Gatchalian, Soto III, Villar, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, and Poe as authors thereof, entitled An Act to Eradicate Mobile Phone-Aided Terrorism and Criminal Activities, mandating for this purpose ownership registration of all SIM cards for cellular phones, recommending its approval in substitution of Senate numbers 25, 109, 176, 236, 340, 388, and 693, sponsor Senator Poe.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we move to our reference of the topics today, I would just like to welcome back Senator Lito Lapid. I saw him earlier. I'm glad to see him in great health, Mr. President. Another COVID survivor. We'd like to mabuhay ang pinuno. Kita po namin siya kanina. I'm glad to see him in the pink of
Yes,
his health. Back to his health, Mr. President.
Salamat sa inyo lahat. Gusto na kayo.
Thank you, Senator Lapid. God bless. Nakakapalo ka na ba?
Okay na.
Di pa?
Wala
Pwede
pa
na?
yata.
Okay.
That's great to hear at least survivor stories like that, especially on our Facebook page nowadays. Seems to like an obituary.
Papunta na ako dyan.
An obituary
Okay.
of sorts. So thank you very much. Thank you, Lord above, for taking care of our fellow Senator Lito Lapid. Mr. President, we have several measures for third reading. I'd just like to put on record that all of these were distributed electronically to all the senators on September 9, 2021. All these measures.
Third reading.
So therefore, Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 2368, and ask the Secretary to read the title and proceed with the roll call.
The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
Senate Bill number 2368, an act providing for the revised charter of the Philippine Veterans Bank, repealing for the purpose Republic Act number 3518 as amended. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara. Yes. Senator Binay.
Yes.
Senator Cayetano. Senator De Lima. Oh, yes. Senator De Lima. Senator De La Rosa.
Yes.
Senator Drilon.
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian.
Yes.
Senator Go.
Yes.
Senator Gordon.
Yes.
Senator Ontiveros.
Aye.
Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid.
Yes.
Senator Marcos.
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao.
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III. Senator Poe.
Yes.
Senator Recto.
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.
Yes.
Senator Tolentino. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villar.
Yes.
Senator Zubiri.
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Bill 2368 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President,
Senator Grace Post recognized.
yes, I'd like to thank our dear colleagues for approving this very important measure that's long been, that's warranted to have been passed a long time ago. Parang mabiyayaan ng Veterans Bank, hindi lamang hanggang World War II veterans, kundi yung hanggang mga ngayon ay lumalaban pa rin para sa ating kaligtasan at para sa ating bayan. So maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to the sponsor of the measure, Senator Grace po. Mr. President, moving forward, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 1928. Ask Secretary to read the title and proceed with the roll call.
The Secretary will will read the title and proceed with the roll call vote.
Senate Bill number 1928, an act promoting the use of microgrid systems for the total electrification of unserved and underserved areas. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senator Angara,
Yes.
Senator Binay,
Yes.
Senator Cayetano,
Yes.
Senator De Lima, Senator De La Rosa,
Yes.
Senator Drilon,
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian,
Yes.
Senator Go,
Yes.
Senator Gordon,
Yes.
Senator Ontiveros,
Aye.
Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid,
Yes.
Senator Marcos,
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao,
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan,
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III, Senator Poe,
Yes?
Senator Recto,
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.,
Yes.
Senator Tolentino, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar,
Yes.
Senator Zubiri,
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Bill 1928 is approved the third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. And congratulations to Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, sponsor of the measure. Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 7499. So moved, Mr. President.
The objection, hearing none, the Secretary will read the title of the measure, conduct a roll call vote. 7499. House Bill.
I'm sorry, House Bill.
House Bill
7499.
7499.
My apologies.
House Bill number 7499, an act renaming Roosevelt Avenue, located in Legislative District 1 of Quezon City, as Fernando Poe Jr. Avenue. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senator Angara,
Yes, mabuhay si FPJ.
Senator Binay,
Yes.
Senator Cayetano,
Yes.
Senator De Lima, Senator De La Rosa,
Yes.
Senator Drilon,
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian,
Yes na yes.
Senator Go,
Yes.
Senator Gordon,
Yes.
Senator Ontiveros,
Ay, mabuhay ang anak ni FPJ.
Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid,
Yes.
Senator Marcos,
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao, Senator Pangilinan,
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III, Senator Poe,
Abstain?
Senator Recto,
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.,
Mabuhay ang hari ng pelikulang Pilipino. Yes.
Senator Tolentino, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar,
Yes na yes.
Thank you.
Senator Zubiri,
Yes to FPJ Avenue, a boulevard. Yes,
Sen-
yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Super yes.
Mr.
With 22
President,
affirmative votes, no negative votes, one abstention, House Bill 7499 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President,
May we recognize
Senator
Senator
Grace
Grace?
Poe is recognized.
again, thank you to our sponsor, Senator Manny Pacquiao. But it's so heartwarming to see your reactions to this vote. I purposely abstained because of our rule that it might be a conflict of interest, but in my heart, I am so happy that this passed. So thank you very much to all of you, yung mga nakasama ng tatay ko sa trabaho, si Pinuno, si SP, yung kanyang inaanak na si Senator Bong Revilla. Marami sa inyo, meron talagang connection sa kanya. Lahat halos, Senator Sonny Angara, nung bago pa lang siyang nagsisenador, Senator Gatchalian, tumulong sa kanya sa kampanya. Senator Cynthia Villar, kaibigan din ng aming pamilya. Senator Amy Marcos, pinupuntahan ng tatay ko palagi sa Ilocos, ang shooting. Senator Nancy Binay, ang kanyang tatay, ang campaign manager din ni FPJ noon. Sino pa ba? Senator Beto de la Rosa na nanonood ng pelikula ni FPJ. At maraming mga comments. Si Senator Manny Pacquiao, I believe, ang kahuli-hulihang kinausap ni FPJ bago siya namatay sa telepono noon. Si Senator Joel Villanueva, nakasama ng kanyang ama, ay kamiting ni FPJ palagi noon kahit na natalo na siya nung 2004 elections. Ang asawa naman ni Senator Kiko Pangilinan, nakatrabaho din ni FPJ, at ang asawa ni Senator Ralph Recto, na si magiging senador natin, na si Vilma Santos, na nakasama rin sa trabaho ni FPJ. Kung meron po akong mga hindi nabanggit, hindi po dahil dahil lamang hindi ko lang maisip yung connection, pero maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta sa minority leader na tinuruan ako kung na pag-aralan mabuti ng sponsor rin na ito ay may basihang legal sa ating batas. So maraming salamat po.
All right. Also, the supposed to be Vice President of Fernando Po Jr., Senator Ping Lacson. Hindi lang na
Oo.
hindi lang natupad.
Naudyo.
Sumira. Anyway.
Naka-meeting rin pala ni FPJ.
Kahit
Yes. konting.
All right. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ako ay, although wala po akong connection kay FPJ, pinapanood ko po yung pelikula niya nung black and white pa, yung Channel 9, Channel 10. Yung araw, Mr. President. At yung paboritong linya palagi ni Senator Bato de la Rosa sa mga kriminal, isang bala ka lang. Ginagamit ni Senator Bato yan. Mr. President, congratulations.
Mr. President.
For the family of great.
Senator Sonny Angara is recognized.
Mr. President, ang idol kasi ni Majority Leader si Max Alvarado. Si FPJ.
Aray!
Talaga. Saka si Res Cortez.
At si
Pinubugbog palagi ni yun. Saka si Paquito Diaz. Opo, Mr. President. So, thank you, Mr. President. Moving forward, just a few more bills on third reading. I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 6227. So moved.
Hearing no objection, the Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 6227, an act creating a new district engineering office in the 3rd Legislative District of the Province of Zamboanga del Norte and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senator Angara.
Yes.
Senator Binay.
Yes.
Senator Cayetano.
Yes.
Senator De Lima. Senator De La Rosa.
Yes.
Senator Drilon.
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian.
Yes.
Senator Go.
Yes.
Senator Gordon.
Yes.
Yes. Senator Ontiveros.
Aye.
Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid. Senator Marcos.
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao.
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III. Senator Poe. Yes. Senator Recto.
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.
Yes, yes.
Senator Tolentino. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villar.
Yes.
Senator Zubiri.
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 6227 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to the next one. I move that we approve on third reading House Bill number 5891. So moved. We ask the Secretary to read the title.
Secretary will read the title of the measure, conduct a roll call vote.
House Bill number 5891, an act reconstituting the Lanao del Norte District Engineering Office in the province of Lanao del Norte into two separate district engineering offices and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senator Angara. Senator Binay.
Yes.
Senator Cayetano.
Sabihin mo.
Napakasigaso ko rin.
Yes. Senator De Lima.
Pwede namang inip.
Senator De La Rosa.
Yes.
Senator Drilon.
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian.
Yes.
Senator Go.
Yes.
Senator Gordon.
Yes.
Senator Ontiveros.
Aye.
Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid.
Yes.
Senator Marcos.
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao.
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III. Senator Poe.
Yes.
Senator Recto.
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.
Yes.
Senator Tolentino. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villar.
Yes.
Senator Zubiri.
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 5891 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, may we approve as well of third reading House Bill number 5890. So moved.
Secretary will read the title of the measure, conduct a roll call vote if there's no objection.
House Bill number 5890, an act creating the Iligan City District Engineering Office and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senator Angara. Senator Binay.
Yes.
Senator Cayetano.
Yes.
Senator De Lima. Senator De La Rosa.
Yes.
Senator Drilon.
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian.
Yes.
Senator Go.
Yes.
Senator Gordon.
Yes.
Huli na yung isa. Susunod.
Senator Ontiveros.
Aye.
Senator Lacson.
Ay, nakalima na.
Senator
lima lang pala
Lapid.
local bills.
Yes.
Senator Marcos.
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao.
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III. Senator Poe.
Yes.
Senator Recto.
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.
Yes.
Senator Tolentino. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villar.
Yes.
Senator Zubiri.
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 5890 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
May we approve as well House Bill number 5855 for third reading. I so moved.
Secretary will read the title of the measure, conduct a roll call vote if there's no objection.
House Bill number 5855, an act establishing the 2nd District Engineering Office in the Municipality of Compostela, Province of Davao de Oro, and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senator Angara. Senator Binay.
Yes.
Senator Cayetano.
Yes.
Senator De Lima. Senator De La Rosa.
Yes.
Senator Drilon.
Yes.
Senator Gatchalian.
Yes.
Senator Go.
Yes.
Senator Gordon.
Yes.
Senator Ontiveros.
Aye.
Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid.
Yes.
Senator Marcos.
Yes.
Senator Pacquiao.
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes.
Senator Pimentel III. Senator Poe.
Yes.
Yes. Senator Recto.
Yes.
Senator Revilla Jr.,
Yes.
Senator Tolentino, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar,
Yes.
Senator Zubiri,
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 23 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, House Bill 5855 is approved on third reading.
Thank you very
Majority
much,
Leader.
Mr. President. Moving to our sponsorship of measures, we promised Senator Villar last week that we'll put her items at the top of the agenda for sponsorship. Mr. President, I would just like to request Senator Villar if this is an omnibus speech for items 1 to 6 so that I can pull it out.
This is an omnibus sponsorship,
Okay.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With that, I move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order. House Bill number 9325, House Bill 9329, House Bill number 9327, House Bill number 9206, House Bill number 9328, and House Bill number 9326, Mr. President. I so move with the
Any
provision.
objection? Hearing none, so transferred.
Mr. President, I move to consider the said aforementioned bills.
Any objection? Hearing none, the House bills mentioned by the Majority Leader, the consideration is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. May we recognize the sponsor, Senator, the chairperson of the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, no other than Senator Cynthia Villar.
Before we do that, we ask the
My
Secretary
apologies,
to
we ask the
read
Secretary the title of the
to read the title of the
Thank you,
measures, the short titles of the short titles lang. Before we recognize Senator Villar.
House Bill number 9325, an act declaring a parcel of land located in the municipalities of Cabayan, Bocod, and Bagias in the province of Benguet, in the municipality of Tinoc, province of Ifugao, and in the municipality of Capaya, in the province of Nueva Vizcaya, a protected area with a category protected landscape under the National Integrated Protected Area System, NIPAS, to be referred to as the Mount Pulag Protected Landscape, providing for its management and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 9329, an act declaring a parcel of land located in the municipality of Balbalan in the province of Kalinga, a protected area with a category protected landscape under the National Integrated Protected Area System, NIPAS, to be referred to as the Banao Protected Landscape, providing for its management and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 9327, an act declaring a parcel of land located in the municipalities of Gregorio del Pilar, Quirino, Sigay, Cervantes, and Suyo in the province of Ilocos Sur, a protected area with the category protected landscape under the National Integrated Protected Area System, NIPAS, to be referred to as the Tirad Pass Protected Landscape, providing for its management and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 9206, an act declaring Mount Arayat located in the province of Pampanga as a protected area with a category protected landscape under the National Integrated Protected Area System, NIPAS, and providing for its management. House Bill number 9328, an act declaring two parcels of land situated within Sicogon Island, municipality of Carles, in the province of Iloilo, a protected area with a category of wildlife sanctuary under the National Integrated Protected Area System, NIPAS, to be referred to as the Sicogon Island Wildlife Sanctuary, providing for its management and appropriating funds therefore. And House Bill number 9326, an act declaring a parcel of land located in the municipalities of Naga and Cabasalan in the province of Zamboanga, Sibugay, a protected area with a category of protected landscape under the National Integrated Protected Area System, NIPAS, to be referred to as the Naga Cabasalan Protected Landscape, providing for its management and appropriating funds therefore.
Yes, Senator Cynthia Villar is recognized to sponsor the measures.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As your chairperson of the Senate Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change, I am pleased to sponsor today the sixth bill, declaring 6 ecologically vital areas in the Philippines as additional protected areas under our existing National Integrated Protected Areas System as amended. As a backgrounder, it was 29 years ago, or in 1992, when Republic Act number 7586, known as the National Integrated Protected Area System Act of 1992, or the NIPAS Act was enacted. NIPAS refers to the classification and administration of all designated protected areas to maintain essential ecological processes and life support system, to preserve genetic diversity, to ensure sustainable use of resources found therein, and to maintain their natural condition to the greatest extent possible. The NIPAS Act, therefore, provided the legal framework for the establishment and management of all the protected areas in the country. Under the NIPAS Act, Congress was able to strengthen the protection of status of 13 ecologically important areas through individual legislation, and these are the Batanes Group of Island and Islet, protected landscape in the province of Batanes, Northern Sierra Madre Natural Park in the province of Isabela, Bangan Hills National Park in the province of Nueva Vizcaya, Mount Banahaw and San Cristobal Protected Landscape in the provinces of Laguna and Quezon, Tubataha Reef Natural Park in the province of Palawan, Sagay Marine Reserve in the province of Negros Occidental, Mount Canlaon National Park in the province of Negros Occidental, Central Cebu Protected Landscape in the province of Cebu, Mount Kitanglad Range Natural Park in the province of Bukidnon, Mount Malindang Natural Park in the province of Misamis Occidental, Mimblisan Watershed Protected Landscape in the province of Misamis Oriental, Mount Apo Natural Park in the provinces of Cotabato and Davao del Sur and in the city of Davao, and Mount Himagitan Range Wildlife Sanctuary in the province of Davao Oriental. But through the years, the establishment of protected areas by legislative action became few and far between, and yet the need to secure for the present and future generation the perpetual existence of native plants and animals has become more urgent and necessary, given the profound impact of human activities on all components of the natural environment, particularly the effect of increasing population, resource exploitation, and industrial advancement, and recognizing the critical importance of protecting and maintaining the natural, biological, and physical diversity of the environment. Thus, during the previous 17th Congress, when I was a newly installed chairperson of the Senate Environment Committee, I wasted no time and vigorously pursued the passage of Republic Act number 11038, known as the Expanded National Integrated Protected Area System Act of 2018, or the ENIPAS Act, which strengthened the legal framework for the establishment and management of all designated protected areas in the country to maintain essential ecological processes and life support system, to preserve the genetic diversity, to ensure sustainable use of resources found therein, and to maintain their natural conditions to the greatest extent possible. More importantly, the ENIPAS Act included the legislation of 94 more protected areas in the country, in addition to the 13 individually legislated under the operation of the original NIPAS law, comprising of national park, natural monuments or landmarks, protected landscape and seascape, wetland parks, park and wildlife center, wildlife sanctuary, natural biotic areas, and resource reserve. The enactment of ENIPAS brought the country's total legislated protected areas to 107, or a total land area of 4,382,568.68 that is classified as natural park under the provision of the 1987 Constitution. But the work does not stop there. We need to declare more protected areas through legislation if we are to fulfill the state guarantee under our Constitution of protecting and advancing the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. With this background, I am pleased to present for the consideration and approval of this chamber the following proposed legislative measure which seeks to establish certain parcels of land in the country as protected area. Number one is House Bill number 9325, principally authored by Representative Chungalao, taking into consideration Senate Bill 2278, which I filed in the Senate under Committee Report number 300, or the Mount Pulag Protected Landscape Act. Mount Pulag is located in the municipalities of Cabayan, Bacod, and Bagyas in the province of Benguet, in the municipality of Tinoc, province of Ifugao, and in the municipality of Cayapa in the province of Nueva Vizcaya.
Hindi ka man natuwa sa statement niya.
Number two, House Bill number 9329, authored by Representative Sani Mangawang, taking into consideration Senate Bill number 2280, which I filed in the Senate under Committee Report 303, or the Banao Protected Landscape Act. The Banao Protected Landscape is located in the municipality of Balbalan, Kalinga Province. Number three, House Bill number 9327, authored by Representative Singson Mihan, taking into consideration Senate Bill 2279, which I filed in the Senate under Committee Report number 301, or the Tirad Pass Protected Landscape Act. This area is located in the municipality of Gregorio del Pilar, Quirino, Sigay, Cervantes, and Suyo in Ilocos Sur. And number four, House Bill number 9206, authored by Representative Gonzales, taking into consideration Senate Bill 1713, which I filed in the Senate under Committee Report 299, or the Mount Arayat Protected Landscape Act. Mount Arayat is located in the municipalities of Magalang and Arayat in the province of Pampanga. And number five, House Bill number 9328, authored by Representative Buboy Tupas, taking into consideration Senate Bill 2277, which I filed in the Senate under Committee Report number 304, or the Sicogon Island Wildlife Sanctuary Act. This area is located in the municipality of Carles in Iloilo. And number six, House Bill number 9326, authored by Representative Hofer, taking into consideration Senate Bill 2276 under Committee Report number 302, or the Naga Kabansalan Protected Landscape Act. The area is located in the municipalities of Naga and Kabansalan in Zamboanga, Sibugay. The salient features of the proposed legislation I will not read anymore, but I will just insert them into the record. With this, my dear President and dear colleagues, I hope that the proposed legislation be unanimously considered and approved by this august chamber. Isang makalikasang hapon sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Senator Cynthia Villar, the distinguished lady from Las Piñas.
Thank you. With the
Majority
permission
Leader.
of Senator Villar, if I can be made a co-sponsor of the measure, Mr. President, with her permission. Thank you.
Of course, you're very much welcome.
And Senator Joel as well would like to be made co-sponsor with the permission.
Mr. President,
Senator Binay.
I also be made co-sponsor.
Senator
Senator Gordon as well.
Senator Cayetano.
Senator Pia Cayetano as well.
Yes, okay, we place that on
Thank you.
record.
And Senator Revilla and Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Mr. President.
All right.
And Senator Risa Ontiveros as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam Sponsor. To allow our colleagues to study the measure further, I move to suspend consideration of the same.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Consideration of the measures suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Moving forward, I move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order Senate Bill number 255 under Committee Report number 270. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration, no, transferred, so transferred.
President, move that we consider the same measure, Senate Bill number.
Hearing no objection, consideration is in order. Committee Report 270.
Maybe ask the Secretary to read the title.
Secretary will read the title of the measure.
Those are protected areas. Declaring yung mga protected
Senate Bill number 255, an act exempting from the population and land area requirements the conversion of a municipality into component city if it has a locally generated average annual income of at least 250 million pesos and adopting ERA portability for every subsequent conversion of a municipality into a city, amending for such purpose Section 450 of Republic Act number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move that we recognize the sponsor, Senator Francis Tolentino, Chairperson of the Committee on Local Government.
Senator Francis Tolentino is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. My esteemed colleagues, I am honored to report out to you today Committee Report 270 and recommend the approval of Senate Bill 255 introduced by my diligent kababayan from the great province of Cavite, Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson, with amendments, taking into consideration House Bill 8207 introduced by Representatives Loyola, Romulo, and our other counterparts in the lower house. Section 450 of Republic Act number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code, provides that the parameters for the conversion of a municipality into a component city, as judiciously crafted by the 8th Congress in 1991, a municipality or a cluster of barangays may be converted into a component city based on three main criteria. First, income. Second, land area. Third, population. 10 years later, thereafter, or in 2001, the 11th Congress enacted into law Republic Act 9009, amending Section 450 of the Local Government Code by increasing the average annual income requirement from 20 million pesos based on the 1991 constant prices to 100 million pesos based on 2000 constant prices. As provided for under the Local Government Code, as amended, the income requirement is mandatory, while the land area and population area must be alternatively complied with. 2 decades passed, Mr. President, since the passage of RA 9009, and this provision remains unchanged despite the rebasing of the Consumer Price Index and the adoption of 2012-based CPI in 2018. Moreover, the amendment in 2001 also failed to address the continuing void in the law, wherein a municipality with a fixed land area and limited population may still be converted into a component city upon meeting a certain income threshold. This is, Mr. President, in accordance with the Supreme Court ruling in Navarro versus Executive Secretary GR 180050, promulgated April 12, 2011, that the primordial criterion in the creation of any local government unit should be its economic viability. I repeat, Mr. President, economic viability. Once passed, this measure will allow highly capable and performing municipalities and their constituents to benefit from cityhood and the impending implementation of the Mandanas ruling in 2022. To mitigate the impact on the just share of the current cities in the national wealth, the measure likewise provides for a safeguard through a portability clause, which will allow newly converted cities to bring their respective shares as municipalities to the allotment of cities. Mr. President, as we face a post-pandemic scenario environment, Mr. President, and as your committee continues to diligently work on the enactment of this measure, I hope that the members of this chamber will similarly support its swift passage. Thank you, Mr. President.
Will the co-sponsor
Yes, Mr. President, Senator I was gonna say that
All right,
I would like to
after the
recognize
gentleman
Senator
from
Lacson.
Cavite, another gentleman from Cavite, Senator Pampilo Lacson, to co-sponsor the measure.
Yes, Mr. President, fellow members of this August Chamber, I have the honor to co-sponsor Committee Report number 270, a proposed bill that will allow our municipalities to sustain economic viability by attaining cityhood through an exemption from the requirements for city conversion and at the same time ensure fiscal equity among our existing cities with the adoption of the internal revenue allotment portability. Mr. President, the principles of creating a sovereign state are simple. The population must be numerous enough to preserve a political entity, its land large enough to sufficiently provide for its people. Testament to this are the small states such as Monaco, the island state of Nauru, Tuvalu, and San Marino, none of them having a land area bigger than 25 square kilometers and population of over 35,000. Yet, all of them have obtained the status as independent states. The city of Rome, named the smallest city in the world, covers only 1,285 square kilometers, but it has kept its glory and grandeur, being a powerful economic force of Italy. In fact, it accounts for 6.7% of the country's gross domestic product. Mr. President, we take stock of these prospects for change. We can accord the same regard to our municipalities which strive to generate their local income at a level comparable or even outperforming the fiscal competence of some cities. The demographics of municipalities as a requisite to cityhood tend to put some of our municipalities as a disadvantage, simply because they have fewer people and smaller lands, make it impossible for them to attain cityhood. Hence, the bill proposes a logical exemption to the general rule for the conversion to cityhood for municipalities that generate a local income of 400 million pesos without the restrictive requirement of the size of its land area or population. In the same way, the bill ensures that all our 146 cities as of date will not be burdened by the addition of the converted municipalities to their roster. To cushion the impact of this conversion to the eras of existing cities, an era portability provision is included, where the municipality concerned will bring with it its era's share to the League for 3 years after the effectivity of this proposal. Mr. President, by opening the doors to cityhood for qualified municipalities, we allow the local governments to fully operationalize their functions. We address the inequity in national resources. We provide a greater number of our people the effectual impact of being a city, better delivery of public services, and a fair share of our progress. To this end, it is the honor and privilege of this representation to co-sponsor this committee report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Before I recognize the majority leader, and before I ask that this representation be made a co-sponsor of the measure, bihira naman akong magyabang eh. I usually try to be as humble as possible, but just a little, to infuse a little trivia. In 1992, when I was elected senator, I was elected chairman of the Committee on Local Government. During that time, there were only 67 cities in the entire Philippines. In the National Capital Region with 17 cities and municipalities, there were only 4 cities. As chairman of the Committee on Local Government, I was able to convert into cities 33 municipalities all over the country, and most in the National Capital Region, but many in the provinces. So that when I transferred the Committee on Local Government to Nene Pimentel in 1998, there were already 100 cities. And thereafter, right now, the total is 145 in the entire country. Yung pagyayabang is that 22% of this was converted by this representation during that time. So may I be made a co-sponsor of the measure that you are espousing, Senator Tolentino?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank
It's
you.
an honor.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
President, to allow our colleagues to study the measure further, move to suspend consideration.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order Senate Bill number 1972. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, so transferred.
President, I move to consider Senate Bill number 1972.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order. The Secretary will read the title of the measure.
Senate Bill number 1972, an act mandating the duty to render assistance at sea in accordance with relevant international conventions to which the Philippines is a state party and for other purposes.
President, I move that we recognize the distinguished chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Relations, no other than Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III.
The former Senate President, son of another former President, Senator Aquilino Pimentel, is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, my esteemed colleagues, pleasant good afternoon to all of you. At dawn on 9th day of June 2019, the Gemver, a fishing vessel carrying 22 hardworking fishermen from San Jose, Occidental Mindoro, was sunk by a Chinese fishing vessel in an allision, which is a collision between a moving vessel and a stationary vessel, within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines in the area of Recto Bank. According to the joint report of the Philippine Coast Guard and the Maritime Industry Authority, the Chinese fishing vessel not only failed to take appropriate action to avoid the allision, but worse, abandoned our fishermen amid their distress. Fortunately, this act did not lead to loss of life because a passing Vietnamese vessel rescued them and helped them communicate with our Navy. The 14 Filipino fishermen of FV Liberty 5 were far less fortunate. In June 2020, their boat was hit and sunk by the cargo vessel MV Vienna Wood off Mamburao, Occidental Mindoro. And by the time the Philippine Coast Guard halted its search and rescue operations in July 2020, the fishermen of the Liberty 5 had not been found. These incidents and the plight of our hardworking fishermen have focused the eyes of our people on the situation of persons in distress at sea. They have reminded us of our status as a maritime and archipelagic nation whose fisher folk, sailors, and other mariners often encounter situations of sinking and shipwreck. And they have alerted us of the need to reinforce the duty of vessels and crew to render assistance to persons in distress at sea. Therefore, I stand before you today to sponsor and humbly seek your support for the passage of Senate Bill number 1972, entitled An Act Mandating the Duty to Render Assistance at Sea in accordance with relevant international conventions to which the Philippines is a state party and for other purposes, per Committee Report number 161 of the Committees on Foreign Relations and on Public Services. This was prepared with the Honorable Senators Grace Poe and Francis Tolentino in substitution of Senate Bill number 209 proposed by Senator Tolentino. Why is it necessary, Mr. President and my colleagues in the Senate, for us to approve this bill and for Congress to enact it into a law? First and most fundamentally, because it is our moral duty. The natural law, known by the conscience of humanity, binds every human being to aid those in distress, especially those in the most severe danger, whose right to life demands the correlative duty of assistance. Hence, the short title of Senate Bill number 1972, following the lead of the original bill proposed by Senator Tolentino, the Good Samaritan at Sea Law, in recognition of its ultimate ethical foundation. Second, we must approve this bill because it is founded on positive law. in public international law and in the Constitution of the Philippines, which provides that the generally accepted principles of international law are part of the law of the land. To elucidate on the second ground, I beg leave, Mr. President, and my dear colleagues, to read out the provisions of international conventions that specifically require us to enact the Good Samaritan at Sea law. Regulation V.33, paragraph 1, first sentence of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or the SOLAS Convention, provides that, and I quote, "The master of a ship at sea, which is in a position to be able to provide assistance on receiving a signal from any source that persons are in distress at sea, is bound to proceed with all speed to their assistance, if possible informing them or the search and rescue service that the ship is doing so." Likewise, paragraph 1 of Article 98 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or the UNCLOS, provides that, and I quote, "Every state shall require the master of a ship flying its flag, insofar as he can do so without serious danger to the ship, the crew, or the passengers, A, to render assistance to any person found at sea in danger of being lost, B, to proceed with all possible speed to the rescue of persons in distress, if informed of their need of assistance, insofar as such action may reasonably be expected of him, C, after a collision, to render assistance to the other ship, its crew and its passengers, and where possible to inform the other ship of the name of his own ship, its port of registry, and the nearest port at which it will call." This provision is thus to be transformed into Philippine law under Section 5 of the proposed law, which provides that A, the master of a ship, insofar as he or she can do so without serious danger to the ship, the crew, or the passengers, has the duty to render assistance to any person or persons found at sea in danger of being lost, or proceed with all possible speed to the rescue of persons in distress upon receiving a signal from any source that such persons are in distress, or if otherwise informed of their need of assistance, insofar as such action may reasonably be expected of him or her. And letter B, after a collision or other incidents of navigation, the master of ship that caused or is involved in the incident shall render assistance to the other ship, its crew, and its passengers, and where possible to inform the other ship of the name of his or her own ship, its port of registry, and the nearest port at which it will call. Furthermore, as can be seen in Section 3 of the same proposed law, the scope of this obligation comprehends not only Philippine-flagged vessels navigating in the contiguous zone and exclusive economic zone of the Philippines and the high seas, but also all vessels navigating in the territorial sea, archipelagic waters, and internal waters of the Philippines. This is in accordance with our right and duty as a coastal state to promulgate rules on navigational safety and safety at sea, not only under UNCLOS, but also under the International Convention on Maritime Search and Rescue. Finally, to reinforce the duty to render assistance, Section 8 of the proposed law vests in the master of the ship in distress, the Philippine Coast Guard, or the Search and Rescue Service, the authority to requisition ships after due consultation. This is based on and transforms into domestic law the provisions of Regulation V.33 of the SOLAS Convention, which recognizes the authority to requisition for the assistance of persons in distress. Thus, the provisions of the proposed law would, upon its approval, constitute the Philippines' fulfillment of its duties under international conventions. As the constitutional body that concurs in the approval of treaties, it behooves the Senate to ensure that our country is not remiss in fulfilling its obligations as a member of the international community. The third reason we should enact the proposed law is this: because it is our duty to our fisher folk and mariners who stand in greatest need of the assistance required under the Good Samaritan at Sea law. Let us recall that 60% of the animal protein that we consume comes from the sea. Thus, the health of our children is owed to the industry of our fisher folk, the same people who suffer from incidents like those of Gemver and Liberty 5. Furthermore, it is our hardworking seafarers who are at risk from maritime accidents and incidents all over the world. As for example, when Gulf Livestock 1 sank in the East China Sea amid Typhoon Mesa, 37 of the 41 mariners who were lost at sea were Filipinos. Us as senators elected to serve our people and work for their welfare, we must approve a bill that would specially require assistance for distressed persons at sea. In doing so, we will help make sure that the fisher folk who help keep us fed and the mariners who help buoy our economy are better protected from harm, and we will begin to recognize, though we can never hope to repay, the debt we owe to them as a maritime and archipelagic nation. Therefore, Mr. President, my fellow senators, in compliance with our ethical and legal obligations under the law of nature and of nations, at bilang pagtanaw ng utang na loob sa ating mga mangingisda at mandaragat, I ask for the swift approval of Senate Bill number 1972 for the enactment of the Good Samaritan at Sea law. Let not the suffering of our seagoing countrymen be forgotten. Let us make sure their abandonment at sea never happens again. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, also to co-sponsor the measure, may recognize one of the authors, Senator Tol Tolentino.
Senator Francis Tolentino is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honorable members of this chamber, especially our chairman, Senator Coco Pimentel, I thank him. His representation thanks him for the swift committee report just presented. Mr. President, it is with great honor again to re-emphasize the previous measure this representation filed and its importance in our national life. Previous measure was an act entitled mandating the duty to render assistance at sea in accordance with relevant international conventions to which the Philippines is a state party and for other purposes, otherwise known as the Good Samaritan at Sea law. The bill was crafted, as correctly pointed out by Senator Pimentel, in the light of the maritime incident at the West Philippine Sea on the evening of June 9, 2019, which endangered the lives of 22 Filipino fishermen. It is natural for a person to help someone who falls down, to feel concern when someone gets injured, or to sympathize when someone is hurt. The Gospel of Luke 10:25 tells about the parable of the Good Samaritan, where a traveler, a Samaritan who is hated by the Jews, helped the person who was beaten and robbed. It shows that even when there is animosity, there is a moral obligation to assist those who are incapacitated. In our laws, we have legislated Article 275 of Republic Act 3815 or the Revised Penal Code, which penalizes abandonment of persons in danger and abandonment of one's own victim. In the international scene, there are standing conventions to which we are a party thereof. Both the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS 1974, and its protocols of 1978 and 1988, and the Agreement of 1996, SOLAS, and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea of 1982, UNCLOS, provides for obligations to render assistance to persons in distress at sea. However, these provisions, Mr. President, are not self-executing. In fact, these international conventions provide that domestic laws must be enacted in order to implement its provisions, Mr. President. That's why, Mr. President, we have been constantly been barraged with requests for the passage of similar measures. Mr. President, this representation, together with the members of the committee, found the lacuna or gap insofar as SOLAS, or Safety of Life at Sea Convention in 1974, Section 98 of UNCLOS are concerned, Mr. President. Although Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution provides, and I quote, "The Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy, adopts the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land, and adheres to the policy of peace, equality, freedom, cooperation, and amity with all nations." There is a principle of incorporation, Mr. President, and we need to adopt a domestic law to comply with the requirements of the two treaties which this representation, together with the chair of the committee, just cited. And having emphasized the need to honor our commitments in the international community, it behooves upon us to rise to the challenge of navigating through the uncharted realm of international law in order to protect our resources and uphold the rights of every Filipino. Mr. President, this is very timely. This bill known as the Good Samaritan at Sea Law, which aims to protect the provisions concerning safety of life at sea and the duty to render assistance to persons in distress at sea in the said, as mentioned by the maritime instruments ratified by our government. Considering, Mr. President, that the Philippines is a key player in the global maritime industry, it is necessary that we stay true to our commitments to the international community to implement and enforce laws affecting maritime safety. Not to mention, Mr. President, that this chamber is discussing the Magna Carta for the seafarers, Mr. President. And our other colleagues would probably be co-sponsoring this measure again. Mr. President, as an archipelago with around 330,000 Filipino seafarers and around 1,900,000 registered small-scale fishermen, it is more imperative for us to be firm in protecting the lives of our seafarers and fishermen by making the duty to render assistance to persons in distress at sea as a legal obligation. Thank you, Mr. President. We hope this will address the gaps insofar as our international commitments are concerned. Mr. President, salamat po.
Senator Villanueva is recognized.
Mr. President, thank you. Just a short manifestation. This representation had the chance to talk to our chairman of the Committee on Foreign Relations, and as mentioned also by Senator Tolentino, the importance of this particular measure in connection, and as it is parallel to what we have been discussing here on the floor when we talk about the Magna Carta of seafarers, Mr. President. 1 out of 3 seafarers around the world ay Pilipino po. Kaya pag bumaba ang mga Pilipino sa barko, mapipilay ang buong pandaigdigang kalakal. And with this measure, Mr. President, I would just, with the indulgence of our authors, Chairman Senator Coco Pimentel and Senator Francis Tolentino, that this representation would like to ask for their permission to be co-author of this, co-author and co-sponsor of this particular measure, with the permission of our colleagues. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
Senator Pimentel.
We agree with the request and manifestation of Senator Villanueva. And actually, when we defend the measure on the floor, the Senator Villanueva as co-sponsor can now introduce some of the concepts in the in the relevant Magna Carta of seafarers measure, Mr. President.
All right.
So it's a very good idea. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. All our colleagues to study the measure. Further move to suspend. consideration of the measure.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next on our agenda is the amendments on Senate Bill number 2077. May we recognize, this is the act creating the Philippine Boxing and Combat Sports Commission. May we recognize the sponsor, Mr. President, but we'd also like to put on record, I called some of our colleagues. I believe, I so move first, Mr. President, that we take it up.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 2077 is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. I called up some of our colleagues because I had a brief conversation with our Pambansang Kamao, Senator Manny Pacquiao, and he mentioned that he's willing to accept the amendments and hopefully close the period of amendments. Unfortunately, I called up Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, and what he told me, and I can confirm it, we can confirm it, he's here online actually, that he tasked the staff to talk to the staff of Senator Manny. So maybe recognize Senator Gatchalian, Mr. President, on this particular amendment, Mr. President.
Who would you like to recognize?
Senator
Senator
Gatchalian.
Gatchalian? What about the sponsor first?
Yes, I mentioned earlier, Mr. President.
All right, so we recognize Senator Manny Pacquiao, but the
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sherwin Gatchalian is given the floor for the amendment. Go ahead.
Mr. President, Majority Floor, after our caucus last week, we had a meeting of the minds. This is what I personally understand. Wherein Senator Pacquiao is in agreement to convert this commission into a subcommission. And we also consulted Senator Frank on the relationship between this subcommission, and it will be an attached agency, just like what TESDA is to the DOLE. After that, Mr. President, I tasked my staff to give the concept paper and some details to the staff of Senator Manny to write. But we also informed the staff of Senator Manny that it's best for his team to write it so that they will be in full control of what they want. But conceptually, we agreed during the caucus on what this subcommission will take shape. Thank you, Mr. President.
The minority leader is recognized, Senator Drilon. You go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. President, I'm not fully familiar with what a subcommission is. We have a Philippine, and our understanding in the last hearing, the last session, was that the Boxing Commission will be attached to the Games and Amusement Board for policy and program coordination, because we really could not figure out, and in the bureaucracy, it does not exist. A subcommission does not exist. So yes, our understanding is that the proposed Philippine Boxing and Combat Sports Commission will be a commission attached to the Games and Amusement Board, not a subcommission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President.
Mr. President, I beg to, I apologize for the terminologies, Mr. President. It's really a lack of, this is actually novel. And the lack of terminology is actually my fault, Mr. President. I created that term, but it's really because of its novelty, Mr. President.
Yes.
All right,
President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, so it seems that we're still not ready for the particular amendment. May I, just to speed up the process, why don't I assign my head of legis, Dave Torres, who's with me in the Rules Committee, to be in charge of meeting with the staff of Senator Pacquiao, Senator Gatchalian, and Senator Cayetano, so that maybe we can come up with the amendments because it has to be read page by page. And with the permission, of course, of Senator Pacquiao, if you will accept. May we recognize Senator Pacquiao?
Senator Manny Pacquiao is recognized.
Mr. President, but
Your signal is not too good. Yeah,
yes,
all right.
Mr. President, we can do that, but before we do that, Mr. President, we to accept amendments of
We did not quite get it, Senator Pacquiao. Will you please refresh and start again?
President.
We did not get what you were saying.
Also, Mr. President.
Go ahead. Now, please, will you start all over again?
Mr. President,
Naku.
I apologize, Mr. President. My internet signal is not good right now.
We cannot get your signal, Senator Pacquiao. We cannot hear what you're saying. It's in and out. Your internet connection must be. You have a video, but your audio is very poor. We cannot understand what you're saying. Perhaps you can log out and log in again. You can try that.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. It's hard
Yeah.
to unmute my iPad. My proposed my statement, Mr. President, is to entertain the amendment of I'm Marcos before we proceed to the amendments of Gatchalian.
The way I understand it is that you would want to entertain the
Senator Pia
amendments.
and Senator Gatchalian.
Of Senator Aimee, I believe.
Senator Jaime Marcos first, and then you will listen to entertain the amendment of Senator Gatchalian. Is that how you want to go about it, Senator Pacquiao?
Daming gumagamit ng field ng internet.
Yes, I believe, Mr. President, that's what Senator Pacquiao wants, is to recognize first Senator Aimee Marcos, if I'm not mistaken, and then take up the proposal that I had suggested earlier. I guess.
All right then. So, Senator Jaime Marcos, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. And with the kind indulgence of Senator Pacquiao, I would like to propose the following amendments. First, on page 6, line 8, after the word combatants, to insert a comma and the phrase, including the promotion of the participation of women in professional boxing and combat sports. I so move, Mr. President.
The amendments are accepted, Mr. President.
Thank you very much to our good sponsor. This is in recognition of the exemplary achievements of our women athletes in combat sports. On page 10.
Mr. President,
Yes.
President, before that, can we move that the amendment be adopted, it being having been accepted?
Yes, that's right.
Well, we did not get it. Again, sorry. The amendment was proposed. What the minority? What does Senator Pacquiao say?
Accepted it.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you.
Rito sa signal kasi.
President,
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Putol-putol yung signal natin.
with the indulgence of our sponsor and the senator from Ilocos, just for ease of making the amendments, I believe what was contemplated in the proposal of Senator Gatchalian and Senator Villanueva would be a substitute bill, because as the minority floor leader pointed out, it's a different concept. So I don't think this bill as it stands would be the base bill. So I leave it up to the sponsor to determine. I just didn't want Her Honor and the sponsor to go through the motions, but basically there might be a bill by substitution. Just to point it out and leave it to the body or to the sponsor if you will proceed as such. Because if not, then uulitin nyo lang po yung trabaho.
I defer to the sponsor, Mr. President and Majority Leader, as you wish.
Yeah.
So therefore, what do we do, Majority Leader?
With the permission of the sponsor, so that we continue with the proposal of the three ladies and gentlemen on the concept that they accepted last week. I move that we have a TWG. A TWG. Yan ang sinabi ko, headed by my chief legal, Mr. David Torres, who is right there.
You know, the minority leader is already waving. You know why? You know why? And you know why I chuckled?
Why?
Because this is the first time in the history of the Senate that a bill on second reading will have a technical working group.
No. You don't understand. Mr. President, before you recognize the minority floor leader.
Sige, okay, go ahead.
Before you recognize the minority floor leader, that was not my plan. My plan was to come up with a TWG for the amendment that will be instituted to be given. Kasi right now, my concept, may agreement na yung tatlo Mr. President. Ang problema, hindi nila masabi kung anong page, anong line, anong linya. So hindi natin ma-amend yung bill. That is why I'm proposing, para mapabilis to, naawa ako sa aking kumpadre. Yung ating kumpadre, matagal niya nang ipinaglalaban ito, at nag-caucus na tayo nung Wednesday, at pumayag na po siya, pumayag na tayong lahat, na i-amend by substitution ba, or by just amendments. The problem is today, we are in a situation that there are no line-by-line amendments, Mr. President. So what I'm trying to say is we're not going to make a technical working group for a new bill or a new...
No.
It is just a technical working group headed by my staff, Mr. President, to make perfecting amendments, to perfect the amendments based on the concept paper of Senator Gatchalian. So, ang mangyayari dyan, isususpend po natin itong measure. These three people with their team with their three teams may meet tonight and discuss it overnight para bukas kung ready na po, we can propose the amendment on the floor.
All right.
That's my proposal, Mr. President.
Correct. Just for the record, when I said that this is a novelty, that a technical working group might be created because of this, I am not objecting. As a matter of fact, I'm just saying that this is the first time. But if need be, we should.
Kasi tinutulungan lang po natin si Senator Pacquiao. I just really want to help him. Because he's been fighting for this bill for quite a while. And I also want to consider the amendments of our distinguished colleagues that I think are also valid amendments.
Yeah, yes, I agree. There's always a first time.
That is the way of crafting legislation, I believe.
So, what do we want to do now,
So,
Majority
with the
Leader?
permission of the sponsor, we will just delay the proceeding overnight. We can take this up again tomorrow with permission of Senator Manny Pacquiao. I'm already lending my head of legis to make sure that all the calls will be made and then they can meet up in Zoom and discuss the perfecting amendments that they want to plan to capture and encapsulate all the ideas that they discussed during the caucus last Wednesday.
Okay, all right. So, is that acceptable to the sponsor, Senator Pacquiao?
Accepted, Mr. President.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Therefore,
Mr.
we
Senator.
suspend consideration of the measure, and as directed by the Majority Leader, the three groups will meet.
Yes, Mr. President, may I request Senator Pia to lend me one of her staff, as well as Senator Gatchalian, of course, who came up with the concept paper, and Senator Villanueva as well, if they can lend one of his legis staff to work on this tonight or this afternoon.
Would you like to include the representative from the legis?
Yes,
of
please,
the
Mr.
Secretariat?
President. That would be perfect. Thank you. If we can borrow from the
facilitate,
Secretariat.
yes. Oh.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, Mr. President, for suspending, and rest assured to our dear colleague, Senator Pacquiao, we will pass this. We just want to make sure that everybody's happy and all their amendments are incorporated into this measure.
Mr. President.
May we recognize Senator Pia?
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Before we suspend, yes, just for the record, we've really been working on this. In fact, our understanding was there would be a substitute bill made by the sponsor. Normally, that's how it is. So, but meanwhile, I already told my team that we'll also provide language to assist, and Senator Gatchalian also spoke to the staff of Senator Manny Pacquiao. So I just want to say that we've also been spending a lot of time on this. And when actually, to be honest, I would hesitate to say tomorrow because I'm working on so many legislative bills, especially in the Committee on Health. My team has been working Saturday and Sunday, as I'm sure many of you have. No, I'm not saying I'm the only one, but I'm just saying na, for the record, ang dami ho nating ginagawa sabay-sabay. Pero if it's your desire na we find a way tomorrow, then we'll find a way. Para lang magawa na po ito.
Yes, Mr. President, may I add?
Yes, go ahead, Senator
Okay.
Pacquiao.
Mr. President.
ahead,
Yes,
Senator.
we can. My staff, we can work tonight, and then maybe tomorrow we can give you a copy. We can give a copy to Senator Pia and Senator Jaime Marcos. The draft of my staff, so you can review it, and then you can insert tomorrow. You can.
Okay. That's
Manifest
good,
tomorrow.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, inquiry, Mr. President, Mr. President.
Senator, the minority leader is recognized.
May we know why there is a need for a substitute bill? Is the entire bill being changed?
I believe the concept during the caucus, Mr. President, if you can clearly recall, that the if I'm not mistaken, no, I'm not familiar with this measure. The body now will be under the GAB still, like the TESDA under the DOLE.
No, precisely. It was during when this was on the floor, we have agreed that that the Boxing Commission will not be under the Games and Amusement Board, but as an attached agency. So that's why, if that is the concept, excuse me, but I do not see the need for overhauling the entire bill. It's just a simple section there which says this Boxing Commission shall be an attached agency of the GAB for policy and program coordination. I do not know what a substitute bill, why it should be necessary.
I concur. Perhaps there was just a miss on the use of the word. It cannot be a substitute bill because this is already a substitute bill.
Yes.
We are in the period of individual amendments, therefore. So we cannot come up with a substitute bill.
Yes. Actually, exactly what the Senate Minority Floor Leader had said. It can be an attached agency. We can come up with a language for that. But I think we have to add kasi including the membership of the commission, dadagdagan natin. So I think from 3 magiging 5.
Yeah, but it doesn't need a substitute bill to increase the membership from 3 to 5.
Not necessarily, Mr. President.
I mean, ano lang yan, individual amendments.
Yes.
Individual amendments.
But the problem is we have none today.
What?
We do not have any today.
Yes.
The language. So we have to do it for tomorrow.
They will do it for tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
President.
Thank you. Anyway, the consideration of the measure has already been suspended.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Moving forward, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 2239.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 2239 is in order.
Mr. President, I move to recognize the sponsor, Senator Ralph Recto. This is the use and importation and sale of vapor products and heated tobacco products. And to interpolate, Mr. President, since Senator Villanueva is here, my apologies to Senator Go if the people in the floor interpolate ahead, Mr. President, with the permission of Senator Go. Right after, may clear naman daw yung questions si Senator Joel, then we can proceed to Senator Go. So,
All
Mr.
right.
President, I move that we recognize Senator Ralph Recto and to interpolate the distinguished gentleman from Bulacan, Senator Villanueva.
The President Pro Tem, Senator Ralph Recto, is recognized to continue sponsoring the measure and to interpolate Senator Joy Villanueva. Thereafter, Senator Christopher Bongo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Floor Leader. As promised, I will be I will not take long as a lot of my issues were raised already by some of our colleagues. But for the record, may I just be allowed to ask some clarificatory questions to our sponsor, our Lodi, Senate President Pro Temp, my senior brother in our fraternity, my fraternity brother, Senator Recto.
Willingly, Mr. President, to my brother and my good friend and the good senator from Bulacan.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. I have just some 2-3 points that I'd like to raise. First is it's in Section 7, and I'm looking at Section 7 of the measure. The bill requires a buyer to present a valid identification card showing his or her age. May we know, distinguished sponsor, what will be considered valid identification, Mr. President?
A national ID, a passport, a driver's license.
So
Those
that
are
would
valid IDs, yes.
So that would be a valid identification card as one that is government issued, such as driver's license.
That is
passport,
correct.
etc. Is that correct, Your Honor?
That is most certainly correct.
Yes. Your Honor, distinguished colleague, is the sponsor aware if there is any data or reports of minors caught presenting fake IDs showing a different age to on-site retailers of other items such as cigarettes, distinguished colleague, Your Honor?
I'm not aware of any data, Mr. President.
But we are also aware that this has been happening and still happening, Your Honor, right?
It probably does happen, but I'm not aware of any data.
What about the data? I'm sure this is even harder if we talk about the buying online through a third-party applications. For example, Grab, Lalamove, and others, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. President.
Under our proposal, there is still proof of age verification.
And do you think, Mr. President, it is working even before this measure will be passed? Is it
I
working
don't
right
think
now?
you have that. I don't think you have proof of age verification today, and that's why I put this in our bill.
Well, perhaps my next question would be, do you think there are measures or what we have right now is enough that will be able to implement that will be implemented in assisting our retailers and the businesses in ensuring that there will be a stronger mechanism for the verification of the age of buyers of products like this? Because I recall, Mr. President, when we were in TESDA, and I'm sure the gentleman would joke around again that I should be back in TESDA. We introduced the what do you call that, QR reader program, wherein all national certifications would have that ID card with the QR code na madali po magamit, no? And we have been proposing this dito sa ating national ID system. But again, going back to my question, is this enough, Mr. President? And you think meron pa tayong pwedeng gawin para patibayin itong ating mekanismo para maprotektahan natin na yung mga minors ay hindi maka-access nitong produkto na ito?
Well, I put my suggestions in this committee report. I'm willing to listen to our colleagues' suggestions, especially from the gentleman from Bulacan.
Thank you. Thank you. The proper time, Mr. President. Thank you for that. At the proper time, maybe we can introduce some amendments, again, with the end view of ensuring that this VNPs, at least so hindi ganun kadali mabili ng ating mga kabataan at maprotektahan natin sila. And I feel that, and I think the distinguished sponsor agrees with this representation, that we need stronger age verification mechanisms by on-site retailers and online platforms to protect our children. Another note, Mr. President, that I would like to issue that I'd like to raise is on Section 9. of the measure. Section 9 of the proposed bill provides that no sales of vaporized nicotine products shall be done within 100 meters from any school, playground, or places frequented by minors. And this representation actually appreciate this very important provision of the measure. But
Thank you,
may I
Mr. President.
Thank you for that, distinguished colleague, distinguished sponsor. But is there any similar limitation for promotional events, distinguished colleague, distinguished sponsor? If at the proper time, maybe we would like to ask the sponsor if he is amenable to an amendment placing a similar limitation on venues of promotional events. Kasi Ginoong Pangulo, may mga programa o yung promotional events, no? At thinking long term, kapag nagbalik eskwela na yung ating mga estudyante, may pupuntang mga magagandang dilag na papasok doon sa mga high schools at may dala nitong mga produkto na ito. At again, yung idea natin, even promotional events, dapat kasama dito sa ating isinusulong dito sa Section 9 that no sales of VNP shall be done within 100 meters from any school, playground, or places frequented by minors.
Any suggestion from the gentleman from Bulacan will be highly considered by this representation, Mr. President.
Thank you for that, distinguished colleague, my senior Brad. One more thing that I'd like to raise, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is the observations on tobacco advertising. That the advertisements often depict, for example, smoking as something cool and sophisticated. And these images are often targeted
Mr.
the young
President?
people. And that's why,
Yeah.
yes.
Mr. President, if I may, on this issue today, my understanding is that we do not allow advertising for tobacco.
Yes, Mr. President.
That is
And that's why,
prohibited. And under this measure, we are also prohibiting it.
yes, I'm going to that direction, Mr. President. In fact, I appreciate Section 11 of this measure that advertisements should not be targeted to persons below 18 years old. It is not just clear to this representation, Mr. President, as I appreciate this Section 11, that it should not be targeted to persons below 18 years of age. But I also feel that it is not clear whether these advertisements can engage minors as models, Mr. President. Because if you use minors as models and yung binabanggit ho natin kanina, it would depict like smoking is something that you should be doing because if you do this, you would be cool, you would be sophisticated, etc. So is the sponsor also amenable to an amendment probably at the proper time, specifically prohibiting also the use of models below the age limit that we are talking about?
My understanding is it is prohibited, Mr. President. But if you want it expressed even clearer, we are willing to accept at the appropriate time, Mr. President.
Well, Mr. President, because in 2019, DTI found that 15 out of 18 fireworks manufacturers inspected in Bulacan lacked the required licenses to operate. So, ang question din po is that on this particular measure, can DTI also undertake regulations of BNPs? Will it be more appropriate?
Yes. We are recommending.
Question, Mr. President.
Yes, we are recommending that the DTI, or similar to tobacco, the DTI and the interagency under the DTI be the regulatory body for this purpose, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President. No, and just to put on record, we understand that this particular issue has been brought up by some of our colleagues here on the question on the DTI's regulation as opposed to that of the DOH and the FDA. I think several times, I think Senator Tolentino, Senator Pimentel, who are also here with us today. But please just allow me to put on record my manifestation that I support the earlier interpellations of our distinguished colleagues, that perhaps we should stick to what is provided for by RA 11467. But again, as I heard from the distinguished author, our Senate President Pro Temp, that at the proper time he would entertain amendments from our colleagues in this representation. Is that correct, Your Honor?
That is correct, but not necessarily to the FDA, but we can vote on that. Yes.
Yes, Mr. President. We also understand, Mr. President.
With the permission of the gentleman, can I ask a follow-up question to one of the questions that the senator from Bulacan asked? May I?
Please.
Yes, sure. Willingly, I'm willing to answer any question propounded by the beautiful senator from Taguig, and very intelligent.
I was just getting jealous because you kept saying His Honor, the sponsor, kept saying he will whatever the gentleman from Bulacan asked. I want to hear him say the same to me.
But the same thing applies. More so to you because you are the, I'm more partial to the women senators.
Now I'm jealous.
You can just say I'm the better looking Bulacania because I'm also from Bulacan.
That is correct. I will not argue with you, Mr. President.
And the gentleman from Bulacan is nodding his head. Anyway, no, I would just like to, of course, I appreciate it when the sponsor mentioned that it is not the intention to allow the minors to be endorsers or sponsors. Maybe at the right time we can propose language, because based on my reading, it basically says that no person below 18 years of age shall participate in the promotion. So I read that to mean that they cannot be on the receiving end. You cannot have an event that targets them. But if His Honor agrees with us that even those endorsers should not be of that age, then that would be better for all of us, no? That's
I
one.
agree. I agree, Mr. President. But my understanding when I wrote the measure, this particular provision, it is evident that kung bawal mag-advertise, magbenta sa below 18, bawal mag-advertise sa below 18, you cannot get an endorser below 18. But to improve the language, yes, I will accept the amendments of Senator Spia and my brad from Bulacan, Senator Joel. Yes, I'd be willing to accept your amendments, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. One more point. Because in I have language to that effect in the bill, the version that I filed. And the other point is also the use of celebrities. Now, very similarly, in my bill, there you cannot use celebrities to endorse regardless of age. So, of course, His Honor's bill mentions 18. I believe Senator Joel and I have the same view that we should keep what is in the law, which is 21. But the point is, I'm also including celebrities there. And again, I will point out, I will elaborate when it's my time to interpolate. But in my visit to London, wherein we even met the companies that were actually, we met the government agencies of London in charge of regulating, and we also met with some of those scientists who supported the use of vapes, HTPs, and e-cigs. And I will point out that in London, there's no celebrities that endorse it. They only have testimonials. So they can use a person, let's say it's a gentleman or a lady who will will provide a testimony that she or he stopped smoking, like His Honor does, no? Yung testimony niyo, pag kinikwento niyo sa amin, the Senate President, I think, mentions the same from people that he knows, because he doesn't smoke anymore. But people he knows who have stopped smoking, I think it's his brother, if I remember right. Testimonial lang. So at the right time, but I'm already mentioning to His Honor, to consider that, because if it is true that the companies are not trying to promote this and making it look sexy, then the approach should be scientific lang. And we even have arguments on what is scientific and not. No, we have arguments on that, but more so on the use of yung mga endorsers. Ayaw po talaga
Be
natin.
willing to accept, happily accept.
Thank you.
Again,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President. Yes.
Give the floor back to the Bulakenyo that I admire.
Thank
Please
you.
proceed, Senator Villanueva.
Thank you very much for
Thank
that.
you, Senator Pia, for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
The Batanggenyo that I admire, to be clear.
Okay,
Thank you,
very much.
Senator Pia, for the intervention, and thank you also to our distinguished Senate President Pro Temp for agreeing to entertain any amendments that would focus on that particular issue of promoting VNPs, not just the advertisement or a promotion within the 100 meters, but also the use of models who are also minors. And I think mas mabigat yung gusto ni Sen Pia, even celebrities should be banned, no? But let me just state this for the record, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Even before the pandemic, I have witnessed promotional events in Metro Walk, in Green Hills. Nagbibigay po, nakakita ko ng mga promotional events, nagpapatry, nagbibigay nitong produkto. And so, ang sa atin lang naman po yung wag silang lumapit, or meron tayong provision dito sa batas na hindi talaga ma-target yung ating mga minors na originally nandito naman din po sa panukalang batas being sponsored by our Senate President Pro Tem. Moving forward, Mr. President, as mentioned earlier by our sponsor, he is willing to listen to amendments dun po sa whether it's DTI, DOH, or FDA. I would just like to place on record, Mr. President, na I myself, Mr. President, while I support the idea of putting it under FDA because I feel that this is a medical product, I also have some reservations. In fact, Mr. President, Senate President Pro Temp, pag tinignan ho, either or, parang hindi din ako masaya sa totoo lang. No? I just want to open my heart because even if you look at DTI's regulatory powers, every Christmas, every bare months, Mr. President, napag-uusapan yung mga low quality products ng mga Christmas lights, Mr. President. Even that particular product, hindi nila magawa yung tungkulin nila, no? So again, I just want to place this on record, Mr. President. My position is with FDA because of RA 11467, but I'm also open, Mr. President, if you'd say it should be DTI, but perhaps we have to do something else more than what they are doing, more than the business as usual. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, may we know your
Mr.
thoughts?
President, yes. Mr. President, with regard to Christmas lights, palagay ko smuggled items yun. Dahil palagay ko naman, simple lang yan. Alam na ng DTI kung ano yung standard, no, for these electrical products, di ba? So, yung mga ibang pumapasok sa atin na Christmas light na substandard, palagay ko, many of these are smuggled items, Mr. President.
Yes, and Mr. President, one last thing that I'd like to ask before I leave this particular topic. Would the distinguished sponsor agree that, yes?
Joel, just point of information, Mr. President. Actually, the good sponsor has the celebrity issue already in the bill. So my staff belatedly pointed it out to me. So no need to accept our version. It's already in his honor's version, which I'm happy about. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
think
Thank
I got
you.
that from your version, Mr. President. I'm not mistaken.
The celebrity should be above the age that we are talking about here, Your Honor, Senator Pia.
Pinagbabawal din natin dito yung social influencers, Mr. President, if I recall. Yes.
I saw that. Thank you, and we appreciate it. Anyway, going back to my point, Mr. President, would the distinguished gentleman from Batangas agree that these products are not just simple consumer items where you can buy over the counter, Mr. President, right?
You can only buy it in a vape store or in an HTP store. Mr. President.
And therefore, it is not an ordinary consumer item.
Yes, it may not be because it's regulated also by the DTI in that respect, similar to tobacco, at bawal sa below 18.
Yes, and at the proper time, Mr. President, as made mention earlier by the good sponsor, we will tackle this particular issue on regulation, whether or not DTI would be the ones responsible for this, or because, again, may I just be clarified, Mr. President, what would happen to RA 11467, wherein nicotine-containing products or any harmful products would be regulated by the FDA?
The Public Act 11467 is a tax measure. And we included, since we discussed HTP taxes then and vape in that bill, then we discussed regulatory issues, no? And now we're discussing a comprehensive regulatory framework for these products. The House has also said that they were unable to debate that issue in the committee. Now they have a final version, which we also considered in our committee report, Mr. President. So what is the answer to your questions? Yeah, then 11467 will therefore be amended.
It will be
If we
transferred.
pass this measure, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Another thing, Mr. President, just to fast track I have two more items that I'd like to raise. Is the good sponsor amenable to an amendment such that the designated indoor smoking areas conform with the definition found in Executive Order 26, Series of 27? I'm not sure if the distinguished sponsor is aware of this EO 26, Series of 2017, which provides for the establishment of smoke-free environments in public and closed places, and in particular to be compliant with the prohibitions in Section 4 of the said executive order. I was looking at Section 14, Mr. President, of the measure, use in public place. It says here, the use of vaporized nicotine products shall be allowed in public places except that indoor use is prohibited in schools, hospitals, government offices, and facilities intended particularly for minors. In other indoor places open to the general public, the use of vaporized nicotine products shall not be allowed except in designated vaping areas or in point-of-sale establishments for purposes of conducting product demonstrations. Perhaps, Mr. President, distinguished colleague.
Mr. President, may I invite the attention of the interpolator that there is a Section 15, standard for designated vaping area.
Yes.
Section A, people below 18 years of age shall not be allowed within the DVA. B, every DVA shall have the following signage is highly visible and prominently displayed. Vaping area signage. 2, prohibition on entry of persons below 18 years of age. Smoking shall not be allowed in DVAs. The number of persons, so on and so forth, Mr. President.
Yes,
We
I
are
see
providing
that,
for
Mr. President,
standards.
and I appreciate that particular section, Section 15, Mr. President. Just that we are looking at the possibility of expanding it to ensure that we will be able to protect the non-smoking public. Anyway, Mr. President, may I ask if we have sufficient evidence, Mr. President, that vaping is safer than lighting a cigarette, Mr. President, just for the record?
Yes, Mr. President, there are many studies that have been conducted. I can read a few. The WHO Regional Office for EU says there is conclusive evidence that completely substituting to electronic nicotine delivery systems from combustible cigarette reduces users' exposure to numerous toxicants and carcinogens present in combustible cigarettes. WHO, International Agency for Research on Cancer, the use of e-cigarettes is expected to have a lower risk of disease and death than tobacco smoking. E-cigarettes have the potential to reduce the enormous burden of disease caused by smoking if smokers switch to e-cigarettes. Public Health England, vaping is a fraction of the risk of smoking, at least 95% less harmful, and of negligible risk to bystanders. The statement was made by said British agency in 2015, reiterated in 2018, 2020, and 2021, stressing the point that the same agency is standing by its pronouncements about vapor products. UK Royal College of Physicians. Large-scale substitution of e-cigarettes or other non-tobacco nicotine products for tobacco smoking has the potential to prevent almost all the harm from smoking in society. So on and so forth. New Zealand's Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health considers vaping products have the potential to make a contribution to smoke-free 2025 goal and could disrupt the significant inequities that are present. Expert opinion is that vaping products are much less harmful than smoking. U.S. National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. Aerosol from e-cigarettes contains fewer number and lower levels of toxicants than smoke from combustible tobacco cigarettes. Using e-cigarettes conclusively reduces a person's exposure to many toxicants and carcinogens in combustible tobacco cigarettes and may result in reduced adverse health outcomes in several organ systems. I can go on and on, Mr. President. There are too many.
I
to
know,
quote.
thank you very much. I would like to put on record that this representation appreciated the efforts of our Senate President Pro Tem to give this very valuable information as to vaping, that it is much safer than
We can also
smoking.
present a video if necessary, Mr. President.
You can
Comparing
just,
tobacco smoke and to e-cigarettes.
yes, but
There are numerous videos on the
let me
internet
put on record,
available.
Mr. President, that it is safer, definitely, not to vape. Is that correct, Your Honor?
I do not advise people who do not smoke to smoke.
Yes.
If you're not a smoker, do not smoke. Now, if you're a smoker and you want to prolong your life, stop smoking. And if you can't, maybe shifting to e-cigarettes will be helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that statements made by our Senate President Pro Tem. One thing that I'd like to raise, Mr. President, is yung issue
With the permission of the interpolator, I think Senator Pia, and with the permission of the Senate President, wants to be recognized. Yes, please.
Of course. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead, Senator Pia Cayetano, recognized.
Just to raise a point to go with the flow of the two gentlemen. Thank you. His Honor mentioned Public Health England, and I was there in London pre-COVID, met with them, met with the regulators all over England. And let me just put something in perspective, the policy in the UK, and for that matter in England, in London, is really they are supporting the shift of smokers to e-cig. So His Honor is correct in that sense. But there is a big difference in the environment in the UK and the environment in the Philippines. In the UK, they do not have anymore the danger of young people, including children, aspiring to be smokers. They have effectively cut that desirability of smoking. Therefore, when they quote unquote promote or allow e-cigs to be promoted as a substitute for cigarettes, there is no danger to make it appealing to young people because the demand for cigarettes of young people is very low. And that is because they've implemented very effective strategies, including no point of sales of cigarettes. I mentioned that because anything we do with e-cigs and vapes should be correlated also to what we do with cigarettes. So when cigarettes are openly available in our country, openly available, bawal, no, prohibited, but still available, and you know, a kid can go to the store, to a sari-sari store and pick up cigarettes. We don't have a policy on no point of sale. In England, and I've shared this with my colleagues, I wanted to look at what the e-cigs look like, and time and again I entered the convenience store and I kept forgetting to cigarettes. I entered the convenience store to buy cigarettes. I wanted to see the packaging of their cigarettes. I kept forgetting precisely because there is no point of sale. Bawal i-display sa tindahan ang sigarilyo, nakatago sa ilalim ng mesa, nakatago sa ilalim ng table ng nagbe.
No signal.
May I proceed, Mr. President?
We got the point, Senator Pia, but we lost you. I'm willing to work with you on those proposed amendments in this measure.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. President, I was asking a question a while ago when our dear colleague from Taguig intervened, and we thank her intervention. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I just wanted to be informed about this particular question that I'm getting from the public. Yung pong second-hand smoke, when we talk about second-hand smoke, how dangerous is yung second-hand smoke sa vaping? Kasi may mga usok din daw.
It's 95% less than
95%
cigarettes.
less.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. One last thing, Mr. President, that I'd like to raise. We understand that this question also has been raised and answered by the good sponsor, but I would just like to spread into the records, Mr. President, that I also support the earlier manifestations of my colleagues on the age requirement, age 21 instead of 18, in compliance with RA 11467. And at the proper time, Mr. President, I have heard the distinguished gentleman from Batangas with his answer to this particular question, but let me just point out, Mr. President, that I am also in support that we recognize RA 11467 na sinet po yung minimum age requirement at the age of 21. Thank you po, Mr. President, just to put that on record. And again, I'd like to thank my senior Brad, our Senate President Pro Temp, for his patience and answering these representations queries. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. President, I respect the position of the gentleman from Bulacan with regard to the many issues he raised, including the age requirement to be increased to 21. And I'm sure that at the appropriate time, we will be voting on all these issues as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Can I continue? It was cut off because of my signal. Can I just finish my intervention earlier?
Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you. So I was just saying, to conclude, that the position that Public Health England has taken on the e-cigarettes, vapes, or HTPs, I don't know if that includes HTPs, by the way, as a acceptable alternative to cigarette is because their danger of young people getting hooked on cigarettes does not exist anymore, because the numbers of young people who smoke is very low. And one of the reasons for that is a very effective information campaign decades ago, including policies like no point of sale. Nakatago ang sigarilyo doon. You will not walk into the store and see a cigarette. So you have to, you're not bombarded with images of cigarettes when you walk into a convenience store. So I'm just saying that when I just to go with the flow, because His Honor mentioned the position that Public Health England took, but that is because of the particular environment in England that is very different from the Philippines. And I will elaborate at the proper time when I'm the one interpolating. Thank you.
All right, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. With all the interjections and the lengthy deliberation of Senator Joel, I apologize to Senator Bongo because he was waiting. Apparently, he was supposed to be first. Now he had to go somewhere. So, yeah, but you know, sinabi mo mabilis ka.
All right. So,
Well, anyway, I promise that we'll take this up again first item tomorrow and everything else after. So, Mr. President, with that, I move to suspend consideration of the measure.
May
And apologies
objection.
to the sponsor because it's been pending already. This measure's been pending for the last 2 to 3 months. So maybe we can dispense with this already. All those who want to interpolate, let's schedule it already because we're running out of time for the other measures. Tomorrow I was hoping that we can finish this and hopefully Senator Pia wants to be the last. After Senator Bongo, there's only one last interpolator, Senator Pia. We appeal to our colleagues. We can already interpolate whatever they can so that we can finish this in the next 2 weeks.
all right.
We only have
Yes.
2 weeks left, Mr. President.
We concur
Thank
with
you.
the majority leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
So,
Move to
suspend.
suspend consideration
Any-
of the measure.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration suspended.
Mr. President, moving forward, I move that we resume consideration. May mag-interpolate sa'yo niya? I would just like to ask our colleagues if anyone would like to interpolate on Senate Bill number 2376. I know tomorrow Senator Batol de la Rosa will interpolate tomorrow. Senator Gatchalian wishes to be made a co-author on this measure, Mr. President. If there are no other members who wish to interpolate this, then we can move this for tomorrow.
What's 2376? Which one?
Yes, this is 2376 on the professionalism and modernization initiatives of the armed forces. So can you kindly list up, Mr. President will ask our colleagues to list up if they want to interpolate this measure. No one's ready to interpolate this measure today. So moving to the next item of the agenda, Mr. President. With the permission, of course, of Senator Lacson, he was the one who mentioned to me, Mr. President, we can take it up tomorrow instead of today.
All right, we will take up 2376 tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to ask Senator Gatchalian for the next item on the agenda.
These are 25.
Huh?
25 House bills.
Baka meron siyang omnibus speech, Mr. President. Pero kung ganun kahaba yung omnibus speech niya last time, baka mag-break muna tayo ng one Senate
Oh,
bill.
yeah, I think we should, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. President, I
One
move that
Senate.
we suspend for one Senate minute and ask,
Yep.
before we suspend, Mr. President, I just want to ask Senator Gatchalian if he can call me to let me know if this is an omnibus sponsorship for all these high schools.
Mr. President, these are all for interpolation, period of interpolation.
In the meantime, the session is suspended for one Senate minute.
Mr. President.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have several House bills, and I promised our colleagues that we'll make it quick, and so that we don't take up much of their time. This is for second reading approval. I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 7769. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate this measure. I move to close the period of interpolation.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpolation is closed.
Mr. President, move to recognize the chairperson, Senator Gatchalian, for any amendments, Mr. President.
No amendments, Mr. President. Majority floor.
No
Therefore,
amendments.
move to close the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7769. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, 7769 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to suspend consideration.
Consideration is suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 7998.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. I move to close the period of interpolation.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpolation is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of amendments. We recognize the sponsor if there are any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President.
Therefore, move to close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7998. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, 7998. Motion is approved.
Move to suspend consideration.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Yes, and just for a manifestation, Mr. President, just for the record, we'd like to ask the sponsor, we tackled this before we took up the break, or while we were on the break, that if I'm not mistaken, Mr. President, to the chairperson, that these are all endorsed by the DepEd. Is that correct, Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. President. In fact, the DepEd sent us 13 separate letters endorsing all of these bills. And let me just put on record the dates: on February 19, 2021, March 15, 2021, August 28, 2020, April 30, 2021, and June 7, 2021, all endorsing the completeness of the applicant school, Mr. President.
And there are no objections also from the locals.
No objections, Mr. President.
Thank you. Moving forward, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 5363. So moved.
Is there an objection? Chair is none. Motion's carried.
President, there be no member who wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of amendment, interpolation.
Is there an objection? Chair is none. The period of interpolation is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we recognize the sponsor for any amendments, Mr. President.
No amendments, Mr. President. Majority floor.
Or move to close the period of amendments, Mr.
Is
President.
there an objection? Chair is none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5363. So moved.
Is there an objection? Chair is none. The motion of the majority leader to approve House Bill number 5363 is carried.
Move to suspend consideration.
An objection? Chair is none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 5364.
An objection? Chair is none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of interpolation.
Is there an objection? Chair is none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'll move to recognize the sponsor for any.
Recognize Senator Gatchalian.
No amendments, Mr. President.
Therefore, move to close the period of amendments.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5364.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. The motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 5364 is carried.
President, move to suspend the measure.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I move to resume consideration of House Bill number 5365. So moved.
5365. Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of interpolation.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion of the majority leader to close the period of interpolation is carried.
President, move to recognize the sponsor for any amendments.
Senator Gatchalian is recognized.
No amendments, Mr. President.
Therefore, move to close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion to close the period of amendments is carried.
President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5365. So moved.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Move the Majority Leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 5365 is carried.
President, move to suspend consideration.
Motions to suspend is carried.
President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 5367.
5367, is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion's carried.
Mr. President, I move that no member wishes to interpolate. I move that we close the period of interpolation.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion's carried.
Mr. President, we recognize the sponsor for any amendment.
Senator Gatchalian is recognized for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President. Majority floor.
Therefore, we move to close the period of amendment.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none, the motion to close the period of amendments is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5367.
5367, is that correct? Is there any objection? The chair hears none, the motion of the Majority Leader is carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the same.
Suspend consideration.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 7992.
7992, is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion's carried.
Mr. President, there being no member wishes to interpolate, move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? Chair hears none, motion to close the period of interpolation is carried.
Mr. President, move to recognize the sponsor for any amendments.
Senator Gatchalian is recognized for any
No
amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President. Thank you.
Therefore, we move to close the period of
Is
amendment.
there any objection? Chair hears none, the motion of the Majority to close the period of amendments carried.
President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7992.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 7992 is carried.
Mr. President, I move to suspend consideration.
Suspend consideration. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Carried.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 7994.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion's carried.
President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I move to recognize the sponsor for any amendments.
Senator Gatchalian is recognized for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President.
Therefore, move to close the period of amendments, Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to close the period of amendments carried.
President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7994.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader is carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the same.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 7995.
7995. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of interpolation.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to recognize the sponsor for any amendment.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is hereby recognized for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President. Majority floor.
Therefore, move to close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion of the Majority Leader to close the period of amendments carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7995.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the same.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 7996.
7996. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of interpolation.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to close the period of interpolation is carried.
Mr. President, we recognize Senator Gatchalian.
Senator Gatchalian is recognized for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President. Majority floor.
We therefore close the period of
Is
amendments.
there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7996. So moved.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to approve on second reading 7996 hereby carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the same.
Motion is carried. Is there any objection?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8239.
8239. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to close the period of interpolation is carried.
Mr. President, move to recognize.
We
sponsor-
recognize Senator Gatchalian for any amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. No amendments, Mr. President. Majority Leader.
No amendments.
No
Thank you, Mr.
amendments.
President. I noticed this is for Valenzuela City, Mr. President. I
That's
move
why
that
it's
we
perfected. That's why it's perfect.
close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to close the period of amendments is hereby carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8239.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 8239 is carried.
Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8240.
8240. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of interpellation as no member wishes to interpellate.
Is there any objection? We close the period of interpellation.
And Mr. President, this another measure from Valenzuela. May we ask the senator from Valenzuela if there's any amendment?
The gentleman from Valenzuela is recognized for any amendments.
No amendments, Majority Leader, Mr. President.
Not to change to his name, this one. Mr. President, therefore move to approve, close the period of amendments. Mr.
Is
President.
there any objection? The chair hears none. We close the period of amendments.
President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8240.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 8240 is carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the same.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion to suspend the consideration is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 7997.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of
Is there any
interpellation.
objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, may we
We recognize Senator Gatchalian for any amendments.
Yes, no amendments, Mr. President.
No amendments. Majority
Therefore, we
leader.
close the period of
Is
amendment.
there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to close the period of amendments hereby carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7997.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 7997 is hereby carried.
President, move to suspend consideration of the
Is there
same.
any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 8132.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, may we recognize the sponsor?
We recognize Senator Gatchalian for any amendments.
No amendment, Mr. President.
Therefore, we move to close the period of
Is there
amendment.
any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8132.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 8132 is hereby carried.
Thank you. Move to suspend.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 8237.
8237. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. We move to close the period of
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
President, I move
We
to
recognize
recognize
Senator
sponsor.
Gatchalian, the sponsor of the measure.
No amendments, Mr. President, Majority Leader.
move to close the period of
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion of the majority leader to close the period of amendments hereby considered.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8237.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 8237 is hereby carried.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to suspend
Suspend.
consideration of the same.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 4954.
House Bill number 4954. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the
Is there
period.
any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried. We
Mr. President?
recognize Senator
Yes.
Gatchalian for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President, Majority Leader.
Thank you. Move to close the period of
Is
amendment.
there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion to close the period of amendments hereby granted.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 4954.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion of the majority leader to approve House Bill number 4954 is hereby carried.
Move to suspend consideration.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 4955.
4955. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to, that no member wishes to interpolate, move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, may we
We
recognize.
recognize Senator Sherwin Gatchalian for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President, Majority Leader.
There being no amendments, we move to close the period of
Is there any objection?
amendments.
The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 4955.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 4955 is hereby carried.
Move to suspend consideration.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion of the majority leader is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 5328.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the majority to close the period of interpellations and debate is hereby carried.
Mr. President,
We recognize Senator
recognize
Gatchalian for any amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President.
Therefore, we move to close the period of.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to close the period of amendments hereby carried.
President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5328. So moved.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 5328 is hereby carried.
Move to suspend.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration on House Bill number 7993.
7993. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of interpolations.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, I move to recognize the sponsor for
We recognize Senator Gatchalian for possible amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President, Majority Leader.
Therefore, we move to close the period of amendment.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7993.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 7993 is hereby carried.
President, move to suspend consideration.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8238.
8238. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to close the period of interpellations and debate is hereby carried.
Mr. President, we recognize the sponsor.
Senator Gatchalian is recognized.
No amendments, Mr. President, Majority Leader. Thank you.
President, with that, I move to close.
Is there any
the period.
objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8238.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 8238 is hereby carried.
Move to suspend consideration of
Is
the
there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, we have a few last measures, but I believe the last two measures will take up on Wednesday. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Mr. President, that's correct.
Yes, okay. So therefore, continuing with the last three high school measures. the
Last
school
three. Yes.
measures. Move to resume consideration House Bill number 8814.
8814. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate. Move to close the period of
Is
interpolation.
there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to recognize the sponsor for any amendment.
We recognize the sponsor for possible amendments.
No
Senator
amendments,
Gatchalian.
Mr. President.
No amendments. Wait.
Mr. President, with that, move to close the period of amendment.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader to close the period of amendments is hereby carried.
Ano ito?
Oh,
Okay, Mr. President, for amendment, the paper. Okay, Mr. President, move to suspend consideration. Did we already move it on second reading?
not yet.
Move to approve on second reading.
House Bill number
House Bill number
8814. Is that correct, Majority Leader? Yes, is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 8814 is hereby carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration. of the same.
Suspend consideration.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8996.
8996. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader is carried.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of interpolation.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to close the period of interpellations and debate is hereby carried.
Mr. President, move to recognize the sponsor for any.
We recognize Senator Gatchalian for possible amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President.
No
Therefore, move to
amendments.
close the period of
Is
amendment.
there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8996.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to approve on House Bill number 8996 is hereby carried.
Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8384.
8384. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is carried.
No member wishes to interpolate the measure. Move to close the period of it.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
May we ask the sponsor for any amendments, Mr. President, if there are any?
We recognize Senator Sherwin Gatchalian for any possible amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President.
Amendments.
Mr. President, with that, I move to close the period of amendment.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader is carried.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8384.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 8384 is hereby carried.
Move to suspend consideration.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion's carried.
Last two, Mr. President, we are reserving for Wednesday. I believe some of our colleagues will ask a few questions on this issue. This is House Bill number 5644 and 7927.
Okay.
So, Mr. President, I'm told by my staff, unless the chairperson can correct me, they just gave me two committee reports that have amendments out of all that we read. These are House Bill number 494 and House Bill number 455. Are there any amendments on these measures so I can make the reconsideration, Mr. Chairman?
What's the number, Majority Leader?
The first one given to me is House Bill number 4954 and 4955.
Item 18 and 19.
Item 18.
May we ask the
sponsor?
Mr. President, I apologize for the confusion. My staff just sent me a text right now. Yes, Mr. President, for House Bill number 4955, we have some minor amendments.
We will entertain any motion.
I'll move to, with the permission of the body, to reconsider the approval on second reading House Bill number 495.
4955. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
And reopen the period of amendments to recognize the sponsor, Mr. President, with the permission of the body.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the majority leader is carried. We recognize the distinguished sponsor from Valenzuela, Senator Gatchalian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. In line 2, after the word national, delete the word junior. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
And then in line 4, after the name punta, replace the word junior with the word national. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. And finally, amend the title to read as follows. An act establishing a national high school in Barangay Punta, Baybay City, province of Leyte, to be known as Punta National High School, and appropriating funds therefore. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is adopted. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to close the period of amendments is hereby granted.
Mr. President, move that we approve once again House Bill number 4955.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 4955 is hereby adopted.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of this.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I move to reconsider our second reading approval of House Bill number 4954 with the
4954. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion's carried.
Mr. President, move to open once again the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion of the Majority Leader to open the period of amendments hereby carried.
We recognize the sponsor.
We recognize the sponsor, Senator Win Gatchalian.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, I apologize for the body and I beg the indulgence of our esteemed members. In line 2, after the word education, insert open parenthesis, DepEd, close parenthesis. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is adopted.
Still in line 2, after the word national, delete the word junior. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
In line 3, replace Baybay City with City of Baybay. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
In line 4, after the name Maganhan, replace, let me repeat, Mr. President. In line 4, after the name Maganhan, replace the word junior with the word national. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
In lines 5 to 8, delete the entire section 2 and replace it with a new section 2 to read as follows. Section 2, the amount necessary for the operationalization of the Maganhan National High School shall be charged against those authorized in the current appropriations of the DepEd. Thereafter, the amount necessary for the implementation of this act shall be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
In line 10, delete the phrase Secretary of Education and replace it with DepEd in coordination with the local government of the city of Baybay and Barangay Maganhan. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Still in line 10, after the word shall, replace the word formulate with the word issue. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
After line 11, insert a new section 4 to read as follows. Section 4. All other laws, decrees, executive orders, rules and regulations, and other issuances inconsistent with this act are hereby repealed or amended accordingly. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
And renumbered succeeding section accordingly. So move.
Yes, is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried.
And finally, amend the title to read as follows. An act establishing a national high school in Barangay Maganhan, City of Baybay, Province of Leyte, to be known as Maganhan National High School and appropriating funds, therefore. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is carried. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With that, I move to close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to close the period of amendments is hereby granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, we move to approve on second reading House Bill number 4954.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion of the Majority Leader to approve on second reading House Bill number 4954 is hereby carried.
Mr. President, move to suspend consideration of the
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to thank all our chairperson, Senator Gatchalian, for sponsoring
Thank you.
measures, and for the presiding
Congratulations.
officer for his patience on approval.
For always being here.
Yes, Mr. President, for your patience. And so just a few housekeeping, Mr. President, before we adjourn.
Yes.
Some admin matters. Mr. President, we are in receipt of the communication of Senator Sani Angara. The Committee on Finance created a subcommittee on Senate Bill number 2381. This is an act creating a vaccine passport program, amending for this purpose Republic Act 11525. This communication further states that Senator Sani Angara has designated Senator Pia Cayetano as the subcommittee chairperson.
Okay, the manifestation is so recorded.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Mr. President, after conferring with or messaged Senator Bongo of the chairperson of the Committee on Health, I move to transfer from the Committee on Health and Demography to the Committee on Finance as primary committee. Senate Bill number 2371 is the bill granting continued benefits to public and private health workers during the period of the COVID pandemic. Committee on Health will remain a secondary committee. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. So transferred.
That's it, Mr. President. Once again, I thank all my colleagues for their patience. Tomorrow, just a quick reminder, we have a lot on our plate, several sponsorships, and of course, defense of several bills, particularly the bills that we also took up today. And I believe tomorrow we'll be starting with the Public Services Act as well, Mr. President. So with that, I move that we, with no other colleagues who want to weigh in on anything, I move that we adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Tuesday, September 14, 2021. So moves.
Is there any objection? There being none, the session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, September 14, 2021.